Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the NBA slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Wednesday, January the 23rd. We have a 10-game Wednesday slate. This is looking like a really fun one. We got definitely some superstars on the slate. We got Harden, Joel Embiid, got Jokic, Blake Griffin, Irving, Vucevic. It's going to be a really awesome slate. A lot of injuries as well that we're going to have to watch. Key injuries in that, obviously Anthony Davis is going to be out, Kawhi is going to be out. Drummond's questionable, Ben Simmons is questionable, Kevin Love we know is going to be out, but Marc Gasol questionable, Jimmy Butler questionable, Aaron Gordon questionable, so some key injuries. We're going to have to definitely talk about those, how it impacts the slate if a certain guy is out or if he plays. We'll work our way through each position, be sure to hit on those injuries, talk about some of my favorite plays at each position, and of course I'll give my core 5 plays, 5 guys I expect to be in a decent amount of my lineups on DraftKings and Yahoo specifically. Before we do get started though, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video, and if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, so that way you don't miss out on any of my new videos. So at point guard today, we got James Harden, most expensive option at $13,400. Looking at this slate the night before, I don't see Harden being someone I prioritize because there are a ton of strong mid-tier plays today. There are so many guys in the 8K, 7K, 6K range that can easily go for 50 plus today, to where I don't think you really need to force in Harden. If some of these injuries go the way we think they do, and like if Ben Simmons is out or if Butler's out and that maybe opens up value, then I guess we could go to Harden. It's obviously a good matchup for Harden against the Knicks. Harden should easily go for 70 to 75 DraftKings points. I would be very surprised if he puts up less than that. But with how many high upside guys we have in the mid-range today, I'm not going to be including Harden in the 5 plays, but like in my 10 lineups that I'll have on Yahoo, Harden's going to be in at least probably 3 or 4 of them. I don't know if he's going to be a guy that I jam in today because I like so many mid-tier plays, but still going to have exposure to Harden. Not going to be full fading him at all. Kyrie Irving at 9,400. Just don't know if I could play here against Cleveland. Obviously a good matchup, but the Celtics have a very good chance of blowing out the Cavs here. We could only get 25, 26 minutes out of Irving. This game could easily be over by the third quarter. I don't like to project blowouts, but this is one that should blow out right now. Boston's 16.5 point favorites, so don't see myself really playing Kyrie today. I think there are actually some stronger plays we could go to for cheaper. Being a guy like Jrue Holiday, 8,600 at home against the Pistons. Love Jrue Holiday on today's slate. Love him as well on Yahoo at $35 at shooting guard. I think he's a very strong play today. We know Anthony Davis going to be out for this game, so we can expect massive minutes out of Jrue Holiday and pretty high usage as well. Last game against Memphis, tough matchup with AD out. We got 39 minutes out of Jrue Holiday, and he put up 47 DraftKings points, 21, 11, and 6 with 2 steals. I would say that was probably a bad game for Jrue Holiday. Usually when AD is out, we can project Holiday for massive minutes, and about 45 to 50 DraftKings points is about a floor that he gives you. When AD's out, you get a much higher ceiling for Jrue Holiday. Can definitely go for 55 to 60 DraftKings points. An 8,600, that still feels a little bit too cheap for Holiday. On DraftKings, I don't think he's as necessary because there are some good plays for cheaper, like Kyle Lowry without Kawhi. I think he's very strong at 7,200. But over on Yahoo, where Holiday's $35 at shooting guard, probably going to be one of my highest owned guys. Like Lowry's only $3 cheaper, and I really like Lowry today, but I would definitely prefer Holiday in that situation. On DraftKings, I think it makes sense if you want to go down to go down from Holiday to Kyle Lowry, because Kyle Lowry is $1,400 cheaper, and that does give you a lot of savings. Obviously, we need to talk about Kyle Lowry. It's a back-to-back road matchup with the Pacers, not a good spot, but with Kawhi going to be out for this game, and I think he's going to play Friday, so he's going to be out for this game and another game. We can expect big minutes out of Kyle Lowry, even though it's a back-to-back. If this game's competitive, we're going to get 34, 35 minutes out of Lowry. He plays so well when Kawhi's off the court. He's just a totally different player. I'd probably project Lowry for about 40 DraftKings points. At 7,200, definitely is a guy I'm going to have exposure to on DraftKings and Yahoo. Don't know if he's going to be a core play, but going to have him in a decent amount of my lineups. Going to the mid-range, I don't love Elfrid Payton on DraftKings, but he's cheap on Yahoo. He's $18 over here. I think he's a pretty decent play. Wouldn't go too crazy on him, but in my 10 lineups, I'll probably have Payton in about 1 or 2 because I expect he plays 30-plus minutes. Should pick up a little bit of usage with AD off the court. Definitely has an opportunity to get more assists, a little bit more rebounds as well. Scoring is going to be needed as well when you take Davis off the court. So don't mind Elfrid Payton, but 6,100 on DraftKings, I would probably avoid him at that price tag. And then talking about the value here, definitely want to talk about Fred VanVleet. I think he's one of the top values on the slate, especially where he's still just 4,600 on DraftKings. Over on Yahoo, he's at point guard and he's only $15 over here. He stands out as one of the cheaper options that we can go to on this slate. Without Kawhi, we do get Fred VanVleet in the starting lineup and most likely going to play about 32, 33 minutes. There is some time during this game where we'll have VanVleet out on the court without Kyle Lowry. They don't run, or they stagger the minutes, like whenever Lowry's off the court, VanVleet's usually on the court. And usually when VanVleet's off the court, Lowry's on the court. So we should get some time with Lowry off the court where VanVleet's going to be the primary ball handler and should definitely be able to rack up some assists. The minutes should be there. It's not the best matchup, but he's only 4,600. We're not paying like $6K for Fred VanVleet. We're only paying 4,600 for him. So that definitely puts him in play. I'd probably project him for like 32, 33 minutes and probably about 26, 27 DraftKings points. So definitely comes out at as a pretty nice play when you factor in his price of just 4,600. And then the one value play I wanted to talk about here potentially would be TJ McConnell. If Ben Simmons is out, TJ McConnell is probably one of the best value plays on the slate. We are waiting on that Ben Simmons news. We don't have it right now as I'm recording this video Tuesday night, but if we get news after shoot-around Wednesday morning that Simmons is going to be out, then TJ McConnell, 3,900, lock and load, best value on the slate. If Simmons is out, that's going to allow you to fit in like James Harden. You could easily pay up for Harden because that would open up a cheap option like McConnell. But moving on to shooting guard now. So obviously I love Jrue Holiday, who you could play here. If you want to pay up for Harden, you could play him here as well. But looking in this mid-range, I think this is a pretty good spot for DeMar DeRozan, especially if Jimmy Butler sits. That's an elite defender you're kind of taking off the court. Definitely like DeRozan here. Probably the only guy that I would go to, though, like Zach LaVine's in a good spot, but 6,900, just don't know if I want to pay that for him on the slate. I would much rather play Kyle Lowry for just 300 more. In the mid-range, if we're going here, not a ton stands out to me. Just talking about mid-range plays and value, not a ton stands out to me. You could play VanVleet at shooting guard, who I do like quite a bit today. You got McConnell, who could be an option here if Ben Simmons is out, but that's probably it for value. At shooting guard today, I see myself playing a lot of VanVleet here, a lot of Jrue Holiday here, maybe some DeRozan. If I can fit in Harden, I'll try and do that. I think Etuan Moore is pretty cheap if you want to play him here. 4K. He should see a few more shot opportunities with AD off the court. He's not the most sexiest play. Definitely would not go crazy on Etuan Moore, but don't mind playing him. I would definitely rather play like TJ McConnell if Simmons is out, but Etuan Moore is definitely an option if you want to go there. But let's move on to small forward now. So at small forward, we obviously have Kawhi out, Ben Simmons questionable. Even if Ben Simmons plays today, don't see myself really going to him at 8,700. Tobias Harris I do like quite a bit. Played a decent amount of him on Tuesday's slate. Gallinari I believe is going to be out for this game as well, so we can definitely go back to Tobias Harris, 7,800. It's a bigger slate, 10 games, so he's not a priority, especially at 7,800. Whereas last night it was a 4-game slate. It's pretty easy to like prioritize him because there just weren't a ton of options. With this being a slate where we have like strong plays like Jrue Holiday in that same price range, like Julius Randle, Mirotić, I don't see myself going crazy on Tobias Harris, but if I'm making multiple lineups, I'm going to get some exposure to Tobias Harris today, even though it's a back-to-back and not the best spot against Miami. I would still play him in some of my lineups. Same with DeMar DeRozan. Do like DeMar DeRozan if you're going there. Aaron Gordon at 6,700 I think is in consideration for me if he's able to play today against Brooklyn. Obviously great matchup. Like him on Yahoo as well if he's able to play. $26 at power forward makes a ton of sense for me if you want to go there. But now going to the mid-range and looking for some value plays. Don't really see any value that stands out to me. If we're just talking about cheap guys. This is probably a position I'm going to go to the mid-range again. If Aaron Gordon does sit, then Jonathan Isaac at 4,400 is in play for value if you want to go to him. But I think that's it for value plays. If Jimmy Butler sits, then Wilson Chandler at 4K I don't mind, but wouldn't go too crazy on Wilson Chandler. Kind of the same with Norman Powell. With Kawhi out, you can go to Norman Powell, but there's probably going to be better value plays. Norman Powell's not the most high upside play either. Probably wouldn't go too crazy on him. Wouldn't like mash Norman Powell today, but if you're making a lot of lineups, I think you definitely want to leave him in your player pool with his $3,700 price tag. But let's go ahead and move on to power forward. This is where a lot of plays open up. A lot of guys I see here. So Blake Griffin potentially, if Andre Drummond is out today, even at 9,700, I think we can definitely play Blake Griffin. On Yahoo as well, Blake Griffin's in consideration for me, even though his price is up to $45. When you take Drummond off the court, Blake Griffin, a much more productive player, going to get you more fantasy points, just pretty simple. Drummond is questionable, so we're going to have to watch that news as well. I probably wouldn't prioritize Blake even if Drummond sits. Like, he's not going to be the first guy in my lineup, but obviously I would get exposure to Blake Griffin. The only reason he's not going to be like the first guy in my lineup, because there are some pretty good plays for cheaper. I think Julius Randle, without AD at 8,400, even with that expensive price, is still a really strong play. Over on Yahoo, Julius Randle's $10 cheaper. I do like Julius Randle quite a bit, especially if he's going to be lower owned than Blake Griffin. I think he makes a ton of sense as a pivot. If people are going to flock to Blake with Andre Drummond potentially missing this game. I want to talk about Nikola Mirotic. 7K on DraftKings. He's an okay play. I think he's definitely a guy you can go to. But over on Yahoo, where Mirotic is only $25, I think he really stands out to me over here. Very strong play when you take Anthony Davis off the court. You expect Mirotic plays more minutes, just has more opportunity to put up shots when Davis is off the court, more opportunity for rebounds. Last game against Memphis with Davis out, we got 32 minutes out of Mirotic, the most he's played since coming back from injury. Had 36 fantasy points, 21 and 6 with an assist, a steal, and 2 blocks. I'd probably expect a similar line out of Nikola Mirotic today. So at $25 on Yahoo, he's going to be in a decent amount of my lineups. At 7K on DraftKings, I would still play some Mirotic today. But the only reason I don't love Mirotic as much is because PASCAL SIAKAM is $800 cheaper, and I think PASCAL SIAKAM is one of the stronger plays on DraftKings. Just stands out to me. His price tag is way too cheap for what you expect from him today. Without Kawhi Leonard, you're going to get big minutes out of PASCAL SIAKAM. Even though it's a back-to-back, I expect if this game is competitive, we should get about 36 minutes out of Siakam and should easily be able to get 30 to 35 DraftKings points. I think 30 to 35 DraftKings points is probably like a floor game out of Siakam. Could definitely put up a ceiling game, 45 to 50. Without OG, without Kawhi Leonard, you just get massive usage for Siakam, massive minutes as well. He's kind of just forced to play as many minutes as he can handle. And 6,200 is probably $1,000 too cheap than what he should be. So love Siakam today. If I'm making like 10 DraftKings lineups, he's probably going to be in at least probably 6 or 7 of them. One of my favorite plays over on DK. Don't like him as much on Yahoo because Mirotic is a little bit cheaper. I think I'd take the savings and go down to Mirotic. Randall's also just a little bit more expensive. But I'm still going to play some Siakam on Yahoo, even though he's not in my 5 plays. Still going to be in some of my lineups. But let's go a little bit cheaper at power forward. So Al Horford is resting for today, which could potentially open up some value. We do have Aaron Baines as a very cheap option, $3,500. He's not power forward, he's center eligible, but he's going to be a pretty strong value play. He has been playing on a minutes restriction lately, so that's something we're going to need to keep an eye on. If he's going to be restricted, I don't think he's definitely a guy we need to force in, but if the minutes restriction is going to be gone and we get Baines starting, I think we can project him for about 23, 24 minutes. 3,500 would be a pretty good value play. We also have Daniel Tice at 3,100, who could potentially be an option. His minutes have really started to trend down lately, but with Al Horford out, you would expect he sees more minutes. It will be interesting to see who the Celtics decide to start. I know Robert Williams has also been seeing minutes. Want to talk about him. I think he's the guy that probably sees the least amount of run out of the 3, but if this game somehow blows out, you're definitely going to get some blowout run from Robert Williams. But the guy that I wanted to talk about was definitely Baines. I expect Baines starts and probably plays mid-20s in minutes. Not going to include him in the DraftKings core, but I would definitely have exposure to Aaron Baines today. If you're looking for a cheap center, matchup with the Cavs should be an easy matchup for him. I just want the game to stay close because Baines is not going to see blowout run, especially if he's limited. He's not going to get any blowout run, so you want the game to stay close. But Baines would still be in consideration for me if you're looking for a value. I know he's very cheap on Yahoo as well. And then the last guy, power forward, Serge Ibaka, benefits as well when Kawhi Leonard is out. It's not a good matchup for him either, but he's 5,900. He's still really cheap. I think I would rather play Siakam for just 300 more, but Serge Ibaka at 5,900 at power forward, pretty strong play as well today. There's so many good mid-tier plays. That's why it's tough for me to fit in James Harden or prioritize James Harden on the slate because of all the strong mid-tier options. That's probably it for power forward cheap plays. So let's go ahead and move on to center now. So at center, you got Joel Embiid at the top here against the Spurs. For me, Joel Embiid is not going to be someone I play a ton of today unless either Jimmy Butler or Ben Simmons miss. If one of those guys miss, I think we can definitely go to Embiid. If Butler and Simmons both play, though, then at 10-5, I'd just rather go other directions on today's slate. I would rather try and fit in Harden, or just go like $2,000 cheaper to guys like Jrue Holiday, Lowry for $3K cheaper. So don't see myself playing a ton of Embiid today unless some of those injuries for the Sixers with Simmons and Butler, if those guys do miss, then obviously that's a boost for Embiid. I do like Vucevic today, though, as an expensive center at $9,300. Love him on Yahoo as well. He's only $41. He's still way underpriced in my opinion, especially for this matchup with the Nets. I played a decent amount of Vucevic the last time these teams played. He had a pretty decent game, 33 minutes, 50 DraftKings points, 16 and 17 with 6 assists and a block. I'd expect a similar line out of Vucevic, if not a better line. I think you can easily get 50-plus DraftKings points out of him. Big men against the Nets, something we always like to target, especially a good, productive center like Nikola Vucevic that has a good offensive game. This is a really good spot for him. Love him on this slate at $9,300 on DraftKings. Love him on Yahoo as well at $41. If I'm paying up at center and I'm not going to Embiid, he would definitely be the next guy that I prioritize on this slate if you're paying up for center. But now let's talk about some mid-range plays. So Julius Randle, I mentioned. Blake Griffin's going to be a pretty good option. If Drummond sits, those are two guys you could go to. You can play Mirotic at center. I think you can play PASCAL SIAKAM at center as well. Looking for value, though, here. I think there is some value. Serge Ibaka I mentioned for value, but I want to talk about ENES KANTER at $5K. I think ENES KANTER, if he's going to be low owned today, might be one of my favorite guys to go overweight on. If he's going to be like 10% owned, which I don't think he will be, but there's a chance he is because of how iffy his minutes have been. Love going overweight on KANTER today. We've already got the news that he is expected to start with Luke Kornet out. The Knicks really don't have any other bigs besides Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson has really been struggling lately with his fouls. Just can't seem to stay on the court, so I expect we get about 26, 27 minutes out of KANTER. Could obviously play more. This is such a good spot for him. The Rockets do not have Clint Capella. They're probably either going to start Nene at center or they're going to start PJ Tucker at center. That's a matchup that ENES KANTER can just absolutely dominate in. Should be able to dominate on the glass. I'd expect a big game out of KANTER today if the minutes are there. If he plays 25 minutes, he should easily be able to get 35, close to 40 DraftKings points, and be one of the best point per dollar plays on this slate. Could easily go for 7, 8x value on this price tag. So love some ENES KANTER today. If he's going to be chalky, then I think you can probably go other directions because I think the minutes are still a little bit unsafe, even though he is starting. But if he's going to be low owned, love getting some exposure to ENES KANTER today. One of my favorite plays on this slate. But that's probably it for center value. Jahlil Okafor had a big game last game, and I would expect he starts again here against Detroit against this big front court. He played 35 minutes, which is not something we usually see. Usually when Okafor starts for AD, he only plays about 20 minutes. But he played 35 minutes in that last game against Memphis. He was very productive. 40 DraftKings points, 20 and 10 with 2 blocks. I wouldn't expect the same kind of performance out of Okafor. If he is going to be popular because people are chasing that big game, I would definitely rather just pivot to ENES KANTER, who is just 400 more. I would even feel safer with KANTER, even though his minutes are a little bit insecure. I just wouldn't expect that kind of performance out of Okafor here. I don't expect he plays 35 minutes again. If he does, then I guess I'll just be wrong on him, but probably won't be playing any Okafor today. That's probably only center guys that I would target for value. Mostly going to be playing KANTER here if I need a value play. So I think that's it for center guys, and I think that's it for the video. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed, make sure you click that like button down below. If you have not subscribed yet, make sure you do subscribe. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below or hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. But yeah, guys, good luck tonight on this 10-game slate. We will see you in the next video. Peace.